Hey everybody, welcome to the old Monday Night Mustang. I didn't know if anybody caught the description of the show or the header, the whatever. But I was had Mark's SLOTCAR Garage on while I was sitting here doing some. I couldn't wait until the show started to get started on what I need to get done. So thank you guys for showing up. Who all we got in here? I know John was in here. I pinned his message. Thank you, John. Hey, yeah, Steve, I agree 100%, my friend. Hey, Jimbo, thank you for stopping in, man. Hey, Steven. Long time no talk to, buddy. Who else we got in here? There's Mark. Yeah, hey, buddy, thank you for showing my show on your show. I was watching on my phone. I just had my hands busy. And 2.15 or something like that, man. She's a beat. Love the Chevy in the driveway. Well, that's my dad's old truck. So I'm sure he'd appreciate that. That was his baby. Hey, Mike. Hey, John M. Thank you for showing up, man. Sorry, I've got the computer here and the camera there. That's the only way I can kind of work it where you guys might be able to see what I was doing and I might be able to answer questions. Hey, Josh. There's another Ford guy. Another Mustang guy, too. Josh would know this since he's a real big Mustang guy. Yeah, I snapped the picture that you saw on the thumbnail yesterday because that's what I was doing yesterday afternoon. It's a nice 74, 73, somewhere in there right now with a nice little breeze. And I've got a couple of fans going that way back in the garage heading towards me. Yeah, and I heard you said it was all stormy. Hey, Rick, thank you for showing up, man. The more Ford and Mustang guys, the better. I couldn't agree more, my friend. Yeah, so that's why I started off with the picture of the quarter window with the Mustang. So those of you that are in the into watching what I'm doing, basically, like I said, I knew it was going to be boring, but this is one of those things that has to be done. So if you missed the last time, like a year ago, when I was out here working on the Mustang, I showed off my Hooker Super Competition headers that I had jet hot coated, and those have been the only headers that I'd ever had on this Mustang. Hey, Patrick. Hey, Dell. Thank you for showing up. Broom, broom, yeah. You don't want to hear me make motor sounds. It's pretty embarrassing, even to me. So if you don't remember, here's the one of the tubes from the Hooker Super Competition headers. They come apart so that you can fit them in the car. And then when one section goes in, then you put in the last half so you can go around the steering shaft. And that's what this side is. So that's why you see the little bit of rust right there, is because when they coated them, they made it so thick that I couldn't put the tube back in there. So I literally had to sandpaper off the coating there just so I could get the header tube into the header. And ask me how pissed off I was about that after spending what I spent to get them coated. But anyway, these are 1 3/4 inch. Like I said, Hooker Super Competition, specifically made for the twisted wedge heads that I have on the motor that's going in there. And which leads to another thing. Whenever you have twisted wedge heads, just plan on spending more on everything because you have to buy special pistons. You have to buy special headers. It's one of those things that you pay for what you get, I guess. And so here, I'm going to move my phone out of the way and I'll show you guys what I've been working with. So last fall, in my rush to hurry up and get the car running, I didn't care about replacing the headers, even though I swore to myself the last time I took those things, the Hooker Super Competitions off, would be the last time I put them on. I didn't care because I wanted to get the car running for my dad. But now that I have some time, I've been using the money that everybody graciously bought cars from, donated from, and everything like that to buy the parts that I needed. And then some of the stuff, like I mentioned, was going to be out of my own personal wallet. Well, this is out of my own personal wallet. These are a set of Cook's 1 7/8 stainless steel headers. for the twisted wedge head and a Fox body forward with an A2 deck. If you go and price these things, they're just under $1,600. Just about everywhere, $1,589 to $1,600 somewhere in there. If you remember the show, if you caught it one of the Saturday nights, I mentioned that I took advantage of some of the Labor Day sales. They had these things on sale for $1,300 shipped. So all I had to do was pay for taxes on top of that. So I still saved money versus having to buy them at $1,600 basically, plus tax, plus shipping. Even if you bought it from Summit and got free shipping, you'd still have to pay tax. So long story short, I always wanted to set up a stainless headers because I do have a stainless 3-inch X pipe, and I do have a stainless 3-inch racing mufflers, and they just dump straight down. I'm not going to worry about putting the exhaust up over the axle. So my mufflers go, and then the tip is going to go just break the axle line. There you go. So it does barely go over, because in the state of Missouri, it has to cross the center line of the rear axle to be legal. And so that's how it's going to be. Oh, well, actually, that's one of the bonuses. I don't know if it's going to show up, but yeah, I can already tell it's not. Well, if you can see in there, they have what they call a fire cone. And it's where when all 4 of the tubes come in together, they put like what looks like for lack of a better term, a 4-sided triangle that attaches to all 4 of the tubes and then narrows down to a fine point. And that's supposed to help accelerate your exhaust gases out. A lot of people call it by a lot of different names, depending on which header company you want to use or whatever. But usually you have to pay extra for that, and that was what was standard with the Cook's headers. And you can see there, I can unbolt the collector, and they are separate, so I can do the front 2 and back 2. Because, like as an example, this one's the one for the driver's side. So in order for me to go around my steering shaft, which will go right here, then these 2 go on, and then once it's bolted on, then I'll bolt these 2 on, and because they'll come around the steering shaft. So yeah, they're going to have to come apart, and they're heavy. Like I said, they're engine 7/8. Another little fact, like I said, I'm just ripping through some stuff that I don't, I'm probably boring the slot car people to death. And I apologize. That's why I labeled it specifically Mustang. So if people were tuning in expecting, slot car stuff, they might not want to stick around, because there's going to be zero slot car stuff except for my appreciation for everybody watching on Saturday nights and the donations and the purchases of the auction cars of my personal collection. So that's why I feel like a lot of you guys that have purchased that stuff help buy a lot of the parts, and that's why the engine's at the engine shop now. That afforded me the ability to buy these expensive headers. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. That's how it's linked. Tour of the garage. Well, actually, I'm kind of embarrassed. That's why it's aimed this way. Because I've literally just cleared paths and stuff like that. But I do have some different angles, Mayor. Yeah, right. There you go, Mike. Yeah, that's the way I am. Yeah, like a Venturi. Exactly. Yep. Oh, yeah. No, these things are sweetness. Now, if you're wondering why I'm taking the time to polish, I don't know, like I said, because it's kind of dark, and I didn't realize it, but the sun goes down at 7:30 now. So we've actually switched over. But anyway, on this side, I haven't touched. And on this side, yeah, you can tell the difference. So basically, long story short, if you've ever bought headers that weren't spray painted with the little shitty paint that they put on that burns off as soon as you start your motor, they put all this tubing has like an oil on it and stuff, because all these tubes are what they call mandrel bent, and they're not crimped. That's why you see all those bends are so smooth. And you can see the dull spots where the metal was stretched, and you can see where the clamps were held on in spots. But there are no kinks in any of the tubes whatsoever, so it's pretty bad bunk. Got a super thick flange there, so they're not going to leak. But one of the other things that makes these headers so expensive is the fact that the small block Ford only has a 2-inch width exhaust port. And so if you're running an 1 7/8" header, simple math says there's only 1/8 of an inch, right? So that ain't going to work to seal your exhaust. So with these headers, they include what they call the adapter plate. So as you can see there, it's nice and thick. This is a solid piece of stainless that was cut out. And so basically, as you can see there, see how those are kind of tapered in. So that's the normal bolt pattern for a small block Ford right there. And then this plate's going to bolt to the side of the head. And then the header is going to use these diagonal bolts. So. Yeah, well, see, these really, they're not even, they don't even list them as polished, Mike. Yeah, that's a good 5/8 of an inch. I don't have the tape measure here next to me, but yeah, it's nice and thick. Well, it's got to be, because the where the header bolts on, these are threaded. These two right here are threaded. So, but the good part is they include everything. Here, I'll show you. And these are side specific, obviously, because one's got to go on one side of the head and the other one's got to go on the other side of the head, and it's always got to be mounted where your headers are going to be able to bolt on. But I'll show you everything that came in the kit. And so they're dull is what they are, and it's not going to show it, but you can see the results of what I do and what happens when you do use the polish on them. So here's both the plates. Like I said, they're side specific. Like I said, this is all included with the headers, so that's part of the cost. So here's the exhaust gaskets. These are aluminum gaskets. So these will attach to the flange on the back side that connects to the cylinder head. And then these, as you can tell, the nice big wide oval, are connect on the other side of the flange that connect to the header itself. And they're also crushed to fit aluminum. But I've already laid those adapter plates level, and there's not even an air gap in between them. So it's pretty flat. So I don't think I'm going to have to worry about exhaust leaks. And then their little baggie that they included all the parts in broke during shipping. So all that stuff was rattling around in there. But they include every single bolt, every single lock washer, everything you need to bolt the bad boys up. So. Hey, Dennis, thanks for showing up. This is the easiest way I know of not to lose anything, is just put it right back up after you get it out, put it back in its box. Exactly, John. That big oval. Any of you that know motor stuff or keep up with racing engine stuff, like John probably does, you know that they always go for an oval port. And the reason for that is that the oval port design has less what they call dead spots, and a rectangle port, you have to worry about dead spot on the intake side. You have to worry about dead spots in the corners. And with a tube, there are no corners, so it's just a straight shot. So, kids in the candy store. Yeah, that's the way I was when I got this box. I met the UPS driver in the driveway. That's how excited I was when he beeped his horn. I was waiting for him when he opened his door, and there I was standing. I knew I scared him. I didn't mean to. I apologize. So if you're wondering, like I said, as soon as I got off work, I immediately came right out here and got started because I knew it was going to take a little bit. So basically what I've been doing, as you can see here, is I got out the old Mother's aluminum polish. And I know this is stainless, but it's still the same concept. And I'm not going to buy a special stainless polish just to make them look pretty, because as soon as these things get heat, they're going to start turning pretty colors. So I just figured better to clean them up and to have them look good whenever those pretty colors come in, versus being all dirty and having that oil baked into them and making them look all nasty. Because the whole idea behind me going with stainless headers was I wouldn't have to replace them again. And eventually I will get them jet hot coated, but I didn't want to spend another $750. Which would have been over $2,000 just for headers. You know, that's a lot of, it was a lot of money for the silly things anyway, let alone paying a lot of money like that. Hey, Randy, thank you for showing up. Horton polish, yep. As you can see, they welded on the, well, you probably can't see it, but anyway, they welded up the flanges on these from the inside and then ground on the welds so they're all smooth. And then on the back side, yeah, you can see they just tack weld them in a couple of spots in the upper and the lower. See? So they're actually welded from the inside with that flange, and that's a, you know, like I said, nice hefty thick flange, so it should not flex, and I shouldn't have any header leaks. And any of you that have had headers on a high performance motor know that they like to back out. On my reason why I'm looking so forward to these bad boys is because A, you can bolt them on, and B, yeah, you can see now. Okay, there's some. Can you see that dimple? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that dimple there and that dimple there in the pipe. That's how you had to try to bolt on this header to the head. And believe it or not, this is one of the easier ones. And if it would show up with the light, you could see where we've actually dinged it in even more, just so you could put a tool on the bolt, because it was so tight to the header that the only way you could do it was with a wrench. And obviously, if there's another header tube, all you're doing is doing like a quarter of a turn trying to put that in. So I hate these headers. I don't recommend them to anybody unless you just can't afford to buy the Cook's headers, or Kooks, however they pronounce it. That looks like a bow tie. Yeah, that's that big old oval port. It should remind you of like the new big block Chevys. And they even went to a symmetrical head like the Ford. So now I tease everybody that the new big block symmetrical port Chevrolet is just a big block Ford Cleveland, because they have about the same valve angle on the cant. Or lemon headers, yeah. Well, see, there's a lot of different header brands that you could have gone with, but the problem is my cylinder heads. Like I said, they're specific because they have a raised exhaust port, and if you put a standard header that goes into a Fox Body Mustang 79 through 92, then since that exhaust port's raised, it'll hit the bottom of the floor pan of the car, so it won't even bolt on. So you have to have one that's a little longer to make up for that. I think it's about a ½ inch raised port is what is on the exhaust. And so that's where you run into the problem is a lot of companies don't want to make those headers because they're just so cylinder head specific. And now everybody's running the new Mustangs with the new Coyote and stuff, which is crazy because you could buy, like Josh with 406 Speedway, he could buy headers from Kooks just like this, stainless, cheaper than I can, because his Mustang's newer, and they're phasing these things out basically because, you know, like I said, there's more demand for the new stuff than there is the old stuff, and so fewer companies want to invest the money for a jig, and Yeah, I think Stainless Works sells the set for like $1,800. So that one's been kind of done. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, here I'll stand out here in the light. You can see it makes a big difference when you do the polishing on it all the way around. And like I said, I hold no illusions. I know that it's going to we're going to turn colors. But if you've ever seen racing headers that have not been done like this, then they turn more of a yellow, nasty color because they bake in that oil as soon as you fire them up. And then you can't get rid of it unless you really scrub and polish. And so it's easier to do it now than it is to do it later. Here's your updated forecast from Urban Media Weather Center. Yeah, isn't that crazy, Josh? Yeah, no, a lot of people don't believe me when I say that. I haven't seen Tate in here with Angry Coyote, but he's got a set of these 1 7/8 headers on his Mustang. So, oh, that was pretty cool. Oh yeah, there you go, Tom. Hell yeah, buddy. You're in the right group. We got all sorts of Mustang guys in here, and people that hate on Mustangs, but they're secret Mustang fans. That's what I say anyway. And quite honestly, my arm's already dead from doing that one yesterday, and I started doing this one. I went and took ibuprofen and trying to loosen myself up. I've got like 600 milligrams ibuprofen in me. I think maybe I should have said we're going to do the power motor on the driver's side. I already got the. Hey, Mike. Hope you and Steffi are doing well. Yeah. See, Mike's got his little project car too. It's not a Mustang, but you know, it's still a car and it's still a project, and so he understands about the old working out in the garage and spending extra money that you didn't really intend on spending. And I'm impressed 35 people actually showed up and listened to me ramp about my silly new headers that I got. I mean, these things are like works of art if you could see these up close. I'm just telling you. And then when the sun's hitting them after it was all polished up, they look sweet. Oh, nice, Kevin. My mom had a GTO, an old goat. It had a poncho in it. It had a Pontiac 400 with a turbo 400 3-speed. She loved that car because she could punch it when we lived up in St. Charles, and we get on the Beltway, and she could punch it, and you know she could merge easily. I can remember many a day. It was that turquoise color on the outside. I don't know what they call it, Pontiac color, but it was turquoise on the outside. It had turquoise vinyl on the inside. It was turquoise everywhere. Does Doug know you have him? What did I miss? Hey, Paul. Sorry I missed you, buddy. So it's basically a 3-step process of what I've been doing. And I don't get them all nice and shiny on the first try. So basically I have one nasty towel that I use as my applicator. If you've ever done any polishing, you know that as soon as it starts turning black, that means you're pulling the loose metal up, and that's what's going to allow you to polish it. So as soon as I get most of the polish off, then I go to this one. And then when I'm wanting to finish it up and try to get the like my reflection in it, like this one's got in it right now, I can see myself. I use a clean one, and then when they just get dirty, I just keep rotating, and then I get a new white one. So there's the example of what they turn into. They start out like this, and then they end up looking like that. So it's a good thing I'm not married and or have a girlfriend that did my laundry, because she might be pissed off because I wash these and reuse them. Oh, bad jokes. Okay. Everybody looks a good Heather. Hey, Keith. Yes. And so, yeah. Hey, Steve. Thank you for showing up, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, see, hopefully you know, Wednesday, Thursday, I can pick up the pistons, the pistons, the bearings, and the oil pump gears, and get them shipped off to line-to-line coating. And then literally, it's just however long they guarantee they'll be done in 3 weeks. And if I want to pay extra, then I can do what they call a rush order. And I'm already spending, I know this sounds crazy, over $960, and that's before shipping them there, and you have to pay to ship them back. $960 to coat the skirts, the tops of the pistons, my bearings, and those gears. It's insane. It's $37 a piston for the skirts, and I think it's $32 a piston for the top. But you can go to line, and it's got it priced. Pretty pricey, but it's worth it. And the best thing you can do to get rid of intake that's already got all oiled up is take it somewhere and have it put through your parts washer, and then have it sandblasted, or what they call a glass bead on it, and that'll clean up all the pores out of the aluminum, make it look brand new. Exactly, Steve. That's, you know, I got back into my slot cars about the same time I started drag racing my Mustang. And so whenever I wasn't working on the 1-to-1, I was working on the 1/64th. Exactly. That's exactly how that worked out. No, but here, I think I got one of the things. I tried to program some things in while I was watching Mark. I heard his coffee story, and I was getting a chuckle because I'd have to do the same thing except for Mountain Dew. If I didn't have my Mountain Dew, I'd have to run to the store. Adam knows I've done it before if I had a Mountain Dew emergency. Let's see what we got. Okay, so there's the Mustang. There's the opening. Okay, and I was going to open the door and show the inside. Okay, so right there are my Strange Engineering brakes. I do have 5/8 inch studs on there. And as you can see, I don't know if it's coming out very well, but they brushed it up nice. So one of the projects sometime this week is to take those calipers off, take the rotor off, and then I'm going to take both of them to get powder coated where they obviously where the brakes don't go. And then where the brakes do go, obviously, then whenever they're prepping it for powder coat, that'll clean those off. So that way I don't have to worry about the rusting anymore, because it actually got on my axles. And I've got Strange Engineering 33 spline axles with a 33 spline spool. So, can I use a machine polisher? I believe I could, Keith, if I had one. And I think there's the problem. I don't have one. I was thinking about that today as my elbow started hurting. Yeah. I did zoom it in. That was before the sun went down. You could actually see how shiny they get. And like I said, I've been working on the outside, and it's kind of got some light. So here, let me show you. I'm sorry if this is boring, people, but like I said, this is stuff I was going to do and had to be done. And so, yeah. See how that, I mean, you can see there's a shine back there, but it's really dulled out compared to that side. So that's that layer of whatever film is on the header itself. So I try to find a spot that isn't so nasty. And I won't bore everybody with me just polishing. I'll be answering questions if anybody's got anything. Yeah, exactly, Steve. That was one of the things I was going to show off was my built specialties, because I have them off the car, obviously. And I was going to polish those bad boys up a little bit, but the headers are taking a lot longer than I thought, and I still want to get the slicks off of the rear tires. I'm going to have to buy new front tires, but I've got a set of 275 5015 Pro drag radials from Mickey Thompson. So I just put a little bit on there. I rub it up and down just to get some on there. And then since this is already kind of what I would call a non-porous metal, it's already slick per se, so it doesn't take a lot. So I always just wipe some on the next tube next to it, because this is a multi-step process. I have to do this like 3 or 4 times. So I'll go back to the original tube and I'll just rub it, and then see it's starting to turn black. Rotate it. See, every time I do it, it just keeps. And the black, in case you guys were wondering, is actually some of the metal that you're polishing off, and that's how you're getting your shine. So in case you guys didn't know, whenever you're polishing aluminum, a lot of times people will scuff them with a Scotch-Brite pad, and you're thinking, how are you going to polish something if you just scratch the piss out of it? Well, that's what the polishing compound does, is it knocks down those high spots and then makes it all nice and shiny. So more boring stuff to people that probably don't care, but in case you never knew how stuff was polished, now you do. No way. Yeah, no, Mike, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's like a sadomasochist there. you're just asking to be tortured. This is bad enough. I really should be taking these things apart and then just doing 2 tubes at a time. But like I said, so you can see just in my one swipe how much of a difference that made. See what I'm saying? Huge difference compared to that dull you saw before. And it's fast but soulless. Yes, Tom. So, like I said, it makes a big difference just doing it one time. And the more you go over it, then you can feel. I can anyway. You can feel the tube getting slicker. Like I said, because you've actually got it polished up. So, there's a rough one, and then here's my finishing one. So just to give you an idea, gets all the residual off of it, and there you go. See what I'm saying? Look how much better that looks compared to what I just showed you how it started. And so, like I said, if I did this a few more times, and I could get it looking like that other one and nothing flat, or get it look like this front side here, which is the side that everybody's going to see. But my dad always said, if you're going to do something, do it right. And so, polishing half your header would look kind of stupid in my book. So I'm doing it all. So, I don't know. Can you guys tell the difference? See how much shinier it is than it was? I mean, I can. And this is just the first run. Like I said, it gets even shinier whenever you do the 3 or 4 times. See that? And the dulling that you're seeing there, like I mentioned, if you missed it earlier, like I said, that's heavy. It's a heavy header. Right there, you can see, like, from right in there and there. Move my glove down. You can see where it's shiny here and clear like a mirror, and then here it gets kind of dulled out. And like I mentioned, that's because they had the mandrel clamps right here and right here, and these are what they call drawn over mandrel headers. In other words, they're not put in your standard machine that just rolls them over and puts a crimp in them. And that's why you can see there are no crimps in these whatsoever. They call it DOM, drawn over mandrel. Yeah. Well, the back tires are already off of it, Mike. Need a rubble soundtrack pipes through the subwoofer. Yeah, exactly, Rick. Yeah, so hopefully, buddy, you get to come up here and see that. And they've got the little kooks or cokes or however you pronounce it. I call it cooks. Some people call it kooks. It's KOOKS, but it's got the badge that they welded on. You can see it's TIG welded. All these welds that were done in here and on the outside, they're all done in TIG. And look at that. Look at those welds. If you've ever welded, you know that's something. No problem, Mike. I'm here to scramble your little brain. And if anybody else has any other tips or anything, and here, let me see. Is that going to show that? Yeah, you can kind of see the dot that's in the middle. That's that cone I was trying to tell the mayor about. They call it like some people call it like a fire cone or a fire spike or whatever, but yeah, it does increase your exhaust gas velocity. Hey, Todd, thank you for showing up, buddy. Everybody, after the show tonight, if you haven't caught Mark SLOTCAR Garage, he has another awesome build. He ran the car. I think it went to a 2.15. If Mark's still here, he can confirm that. And then we've got the Monday Ramble. I noticed that was back. I saw a post pop up anyway. So go check out Todd at Toad You Racing. Thank you for coming by, buddy. Metal. See, I've even got the black gloves and everything. So it's hard for me to describe how much easier it is for this towel to rub on this side, on these pipes. I mean, it just glides. Almost feels like Novus on a slot car. So if that brings back a friction coefficient to your fingers, you know what I'm talking about. So it's nice and smooth on this side. And then if you go to the side that I literally just got through doing a little bit of, you can feel that it's still got some tension on it. And so obviously what I'd keep doing is the first one again, da-da-da-da-da. Second one again to get rid of the residual. And then I do the third one again. Like I said, I can feel that. That's crazy. But if you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm using is Mother's. It's not, they make a specific stainless polish. I don't know that Mother's does, but I know that they do make stainless polishes. But this is what I had. I have a lot of it because I use it with my wheels, so you can see, and it works good. For the cost for what you're getting, it's good. There's better polishes out there, but you're going to pay more money for them, in my opinion. And I'm no project farm, so I don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff and test it and end up with a bunch of stuff that doesn't work. So, anybody got any questions on anything? Like Mike there, dude, like I said, I'm not going to bore people by doing it again, you know, because I literally, that's what I'd have to sit here and do, is just keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again until it was as slick as this side. And see how you can see my reflection in there. That's how much I can polish it up. Oh, wow. That's cool. Thanks for the heads up, Mike. I've never personally done that. You know, a cheap trick, if you guys are interested, you can always try it if you don't want to go out and buy a specific headlight cleaning compound for your clear headlights, or like those running lights or whatever. Get you some WD-40 and a terry cloth towel and scrub the shit out of them. And it won't make them perfect, but trust me, WD-40 will take off a lot of the yellowing. It'll blow your mind. I've done it. It works. That's why I'm telling you guys, if you've never done it and you don't want to spend the money, if you've already got a can of WD-40, that's an easy way to get your headlight assemblies a little more clear. Yeah. In case anybody wondered, WD-40 stands for water dispersant and then 40 uses. So there's 40 different uses for WD-40. And that's one of them, cleaning plastic, believe it or not. You can use it to clean porcelain too. Your toilet or those rust rings. If you've ever seen an old toilet that has a rust ring around it, yeah, you can use that too. See, I'm full of all sorts of useless information. Will you want me to open the door up on the Mustang and then swing the camera back around and let you guys look in it? Because my arm's already jelly. Yeah, Keith, that you nailed it too. All right, Todd. Yeah, no, this my elbow can handle lifting the door handle. Let's see. I thought it would open, but that's what I get for thinking. My drag radials are in the way. That's second. So, like I mentioned, I've got the door panel off because I got a new window motor to go in over there. 3 10mm bolts, so not all that hard to do. Here's my computer cable that connected my MSD6AL to my laptop so I could program my ignition. Got a Hurst pistol grip shifter there. Those are all autometer ultralight gauges. I've got a 10-point chrome moly full roll cage in it. Hey, Don, thanks for showing up, man. Yeah, that's my dad's truck, Tom. What's this? Okay, yeah, there's that. Okay. So, if you guys didn't know, this is how big a 275 50-15 drag radial is. This is a Mickey Thompson. So this is what I'll be running around on the street with. Give me a second, and I'll wheel over the. There you go. So these are the drag slicks right here that I used to run on. Those are what they call a Hoosier 26 by 8.5 wide, and so they're actually like 9 inches wide. These are on a 10-inch rim, and then this drag radial, as you can see, is mucho wider. So remember, this is like 9 inches with on a 10-inch rim, and then this one is 11 inches on a 10-inch rim, which is what I have. I've got a 15 by 10-inch rim, so I'll have more rubber on the ground to roll around. And if you guys have ever ran these, you know what I'm talking about. They get super sticky, and so I love these. I love these drag radials. Don't get me wrong, I like my little slicks too, but I hooked up way better with my drag radials. Yeah, those are DOT. So I thought that'd be kind of cool to show the. Here, I can move the camera a little bit and get them side by side so you can actually see. Yep. So there's about an inch and a half, 2 inches on the drag radial versus the slick. Oh, nice. Yeah, exactly, Steve. Bigger silicone tires. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Rick. And then these. My billet specialties. These are a 15 by 10. And my Mustang has the stock fender wells in it. It doesn't have a mini tub in it. So that's pretty impressive to put those 15 by 10 inch rims in there. If you've got a new Edge Mustang or newer, then you really don't have to worry about that because they'll hold a 10 inch rim. But on a Fox body, which is what that thing is, you have to do some clearancing with a mini sledgehammer, and it's good that way. Now he's got some 5-spoke rims, Keith. I put a set of those on the Mustang that Joe Guyver gifted to me. I took his white rims off that custom Mustang that he made for me and put those TYCO rims on there from Steve. Which reminds me, okay, so tonight is the last night to get your email to me if you want any of Steve's rims. I'm placing an order with him tomorrow. And so if you want rims for your TYCO, your Super 7, your G Plus, your Viper, you let me know, and then I'm placing the order. I won't collect any money until he gets them done and gets them shipped to me. But they are complete. Front and rear tires included. Axles are done by Viper, and then he does his custom aluminum rims, and he puts Harden Creek tires on them. So good quality stuff. Jim's ran them. I ran them. Mark SLOTCAR Garages ran them. Several people have this stuff, and we all stand behind it 100%. Steven with Rooster Racing uses them. So good stuff. So if you're interested, scottshouseho@gmail.com. Tonight's the last night to get in your order unless you want to contact Steve directly yourself, because I've got about 5 people that have requested a certain number of rims, and so I got to get him the money, and then he's going to get them done and then get them back to me, and then I'll send out an invoice if it's not an auction night or something like that to everybody. So if you're interested in trying to get some of Steve's awesome rims for your car, here's your chance. Well, through me anyway. Mike, there's nothing on my car that is not MSD. So the 6AL connects directly to the coil, and it connects directly to my MSD distributor, and they plug in. And so nothing from the factory is used whatsoever. In fact, I even ran a separate power wire to the coil and to the ignition box that comes straight from the battery. So they're on a fused line, but that way I don't have to worry about them trying to draw from the main fuse box itself. $25 a set, Kevin. Hey, Rich, thanks for showing up, buddy. Buster, get you. My dog decided he wanted to run across the road. Get over here. He thinks this whole neighborhood's his, and he can just walk wherever he wants. And yeah, Kevin, if you want some, let me know. But just make sure if you're, let me know. I got, like I said, TYCO, Super 7, Viper, Mega G Plus. You got to let me know what chassis they're going to go on, because it all makes a difference on where he puts that rear gear on the back. And so, yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say is, Rich, I'm still waiting on my quart of oil. I do have one out back, as a matter of fact. I don't know if my cord's long enough. But we'll try. And what he was referring to, if you guys don't know what that switch is in the back, that's directly wired to my battery. And so if for some reason I crashed and the track workers could roll up there in their little four-wheelers or golf carts or whatever, and they could turn the power off to the whole car. And so if there was a fire, then the battery wouldn't keep feeding it. So as an example, I have an electric fuel pump. So if I wrecked, if the key's on, the pump's on. So even if the motor's not running, the pump's still going. So if it broke a fuel line and the pump's still running and there's a fire, the pump would just keep feeding the fire. So they do that for your safety, obviously, so you get your ass out of the car. No, Keith, I didn't go with a fuel cell. I bought a brand new replacement fuel tank, and then I had what they call a rear sump welded into it. So it's a factory tank. It'll still hold the factory 15.4 gallons. That way I can do my drag and drive stuff. Oh no, like I said, I'm looking so forward to finally hearing this thing run again, and this stuff here just gets me excited. I mean, I'm sorry to everybody that this just bored the hell out of, but you know, this is, like I said, this is stuff that people help me get to this point with the car, and I want to show them this is, you know, this is going to happen. This this is going to happen. And it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the generosity of the people that watch the channel. And so I want everybody that did participate in that to feel like they're a part of this, because you are. And like I said, whenever I can afford it, I'm going to put everybody's name on there underneath. I'm going to replace the stickers that are on the car now, because none of those people, two of them have passed away, and one of them's taking care of his sick wife, so he's not doing anything anymore. And so I want to take their stuff off of there, and then I'm going to put the Scott's House of HO Racing, and then everybody that contributed, bought a car, or whatever, their name, or if you're a channel member, is going to go on the car as a special thanks. So you guys will be riding with me, even if you can't ride with me. Yep, battery's in the trunk. Sitting right here, right on the other side. But yeah, got a battery relocation kit. Crashing, you can't touch them. Yeah, Joey. You know, like I said, I'm a car guy, and those people that watch slot car, you know, that enjoy slot car racing, like racing, you know, whether it be NASCAR or IndyCar, just racing in general. You know, I was watching some MotoGP from Catalonia, Spain. Wow, that is awesome, Kevin. See, so give you a background. The car weighed like 3360 with me in it when I raced it, and that was without carpet and the front seat. And like I said, at 3360 with me in the car, I would run. The best run I had was a 1064 at just under 125 mile an hour in the quarter. And that's what it was, a 10.5 to 1, 349 cubic inch motor. Now it's going to be a 363 cubic inch motor with 12.5 to 12.7 to 1 compression. And it's going to, yeah. So even though it's going to have an extra seat in it, you know, eventually I've got brand new carpet sitting in the hatch that's going to go in there. And even though the carpet's going to go in there, hopefully it'll be a mid to low 10-second quarter-mile car, all motor, being able to cruise around anywhere. That's the goal. Oh yeah, the Ford. Okay, so you know, this car came in 1991 fuel injected, and so rather than spend $2,000 on a new computer and $1,500 on fuel injectors and all the crap that goes with fuel injection, I went with the most cost-effective way, which was a carburetor. And so I had to put a new ignition in there. I didn't have an option. But anyway, yeah, you do want it for tunability regardless. And the reason why I like the 6AL is because you can program your ignition curve. So I've got a rev limiter set for the burnout. I've got a rev limiter set when I'm on the trans brake. So when I'm on the trans brake, I can floor the car. So my throttle's wide open as long as I've got the button held. And then the ignition holds my RPM at whatever I set it at on my 6AL box. And as soon as I let it off, it's just like dumping a clutch. It smacks you. That's the, believe it or not, as soon as I'm letting off the button, if someone's riding with me, because I've done a ride along before, I look over it and I watch the look on their face while I'm letting off the button because it's priceless. First thing is they're sitting there trying not to let their helmet touch the back of the seat because, you know, you don't want it touching the back of the seat. It's just not normal. And then I let go of the button and they have no choice. They get thrown back into the back of the seat. So depending how far forward they're leaning depends on how much of a smack back they get. Oh, well, see, if you're playing, I'll just tell anybody, if you think that playing with a 10-second street car or 10-second capable car on the street is, you can't do, you better put some thought into it before you put your foot down. I'll put it that way. Anything over 500 horsepower, if you put your foot into it, you're not going straight. You know, you're asking for trouble, in my opinion. I mean, my car is set up to go straight. So if it kicks the ass end out, I'm all cattywampus, and then it tries to go straight again, it just does this shit, and the ass end just starts wagging the tail. Not a fun feeling, I'll tell you that. Yeah, Don, exactly it. Oh, you're no problem, Steve. Like I said, it's a, you know, impromptu, just showing you guys what I'm up to with the car. You know, you kind of got to see me polish on one of the headers. But the main thing was I wanted to get out there is a thank you. You know, when I say I'm working on the car out in the garage, you're seeing it. You're seeing the results of your guys' generosity by helping me out. Like I said, just watching the show, donations and purchases. And I sincerely appreciate it because, like I said, if I wouldn't have raised the money by selling cars, then I would have never had these headers. So you would have never seen these headers. You'd have just seen these old crappy super competition ones again. And that would have been a whole hour plus just watching me try to put bolts in those things. And that's not how long it takes because I've actually got specialty tools that I've ground down just so I could get the socket or the wrench on that bolt hole. Is insane. No, this is my dad's truck. It's a Chevy Silverado 3500 Duramax Allison. I don't know where my dog went. Yeah. I was just making sure he didn't get ran over. 2006, forgot to say that. Until I get the water pump replaced on the TYCO. Oh yeah, Keith. Well, you know, like I said, this is just one step. If there's more stuff, obviously I'm going to be showing. But like I said, I normally do a show on Monday nights, and I figured I'd just take the opportunity and show off my nice new pretty jewelry, as I call it, for the engine bay. The motor is going to be murdered out, except for the polished Ford Motorsport valve covers, Ford Racing valve covers, polished aluminum, and then the stainless headers, and then the the aluminum colored intake. But the rest of the motor's black, besides the head. So it's going to look sweet. They call it, the kids call that murdered out. I call it black. I'm getting a this is my distributor setup here. You can see I got Moroso Ultra 40 wires on it. But I'm going to get a black cap kit for it, and then I'm going to get some Taylor black wires that are just as low resistance as these. That's why I went with these. In case you guys didn't know, real quick before I get off here, the reason why they call these things Ultra 40 is because they only have 40 ohms of resistance. They're not something you want to use if you plan on having a radio or a stereo in your car, because all you'll hear is a coming through your speakers. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I've got a super starter, mini super starter, for 13.5 compression, so it's going to go just like a race car. It's going to sound like a race car, but it's going to be my street car. So I can't wait. Like I said, if anybody wants to take a road trip to Springfield, Missouri, the weekend of November the 8th, one way or another, even if I'm recovering from donating, selling a kidney on the black market, one way or another, that car is running down that track on that day, that Saturday the 8th. And I will run that thing up and down the track as many times as they'll let us, and as many times as people want to ride. Even if I have to go by myself, I don't care. It's been 7 years since I've heard my car run, and a lot of meaning behind it getting running this time. So yeah, we're already 8 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I know it's a little earlier on the mountain in the West Coast, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up because I haven't had any dinner tonight. The dogs hadn't had any dinner. I still got to find my dog since he wandered off. And then I got to get all this crap in the house. So, guys, thank you again for showing up. Thank you again for your support, allowing me to be able to do what I'm doing now. And I don't think Bob's racing tomorrow night, but I know my buddy Adam will have his show on Wednesday night, and tomorrow is TYCO Tuesday at Rich's Slot Car Room. So go by and check out the latest TYCO that Rich is going to put out from his collection. That's always cool to see. I always see cars that I don't have that he just needs to go ahead and get me. And so anyway, stop by and say hi, Rich. Check out the Monday Ramble. Check out Mark's Slot Car Garage when he was doing some racing. Thursday night, PTT's racing again. And we've got Slot Cars and HO Trains with Kenton that he's going to go live again. I'm not sure. And then we've got, thank God, it's TYCO Friday again with Rich. And he's got his Slot Cars and Cold Snacks live show on Friday night. And then Saturday night, I'll be back with another Scott's Slot Car Saturday Night Live. And since we're back down to the 5-car auction, and we've got a bonus auction from Tom with No Dog Motorsports, the handmade, made out of wood pit garage. We'll be auctioning that off. But I am going to have another little filler piece in there, kind of like I did last week with the 1977 TYCO's buyer guide. That was kind of cool for me. And showing off those Thunderjet pop-up kits, that was really cool too. So more interesting stuff like that with the show, not just all auction. Thank you guys again for putting up with all the 10-car auction stuff. I appreciate it. But once again, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Be sure to check out Rich tomorrow night. Be sure to check out Todd at Toji Racing Night with the Monday Ramble. And check out that awesome build from Mark's Slot Car Garage. Until then, guys, take care. I'll see you on Wednesday night at Adam's show. Have a good rest of your week.